Hey guys, this story is brought to you by the Reddit user HyperObscura, their Reddit, and the story links will be in the description. A bloody bunch of body parts, comically sized goons, and stories so fucked up they'll make even the looniest serial killer wince. It had been an interesting couple of days to say the least. An interesting couple of decades too. And now it was all presumably about to come tumbling down on me. I sat by the dumpster staring at the note. Remember. There's a lot I remember. More still that I don't. I guess living on a diet consisting of 81.2% alcohol will do that to you. Leave gaps where there should be faces, holes where there should be persons. What the hell was I missing? I could remember every detail about every body part I'd woefully received over the years, and I could remember straining my mind until I passed out, desperately searching for answers to the why. But had I thoroughly investigated the who? Not the who as in who sent it, but the who as in whose body parts had I been burying all over the country? Lena. I couldn't stop thinking about her after Dirk mentioned the name Gruber, her father's surname. Was it a coincidence? Did I even believe in coincidences anymore? I stumbled to my feet, kicking the note and severed lips into a filthy corner behind the dumpster. I suppose the rats could have this one. No time to bury body parts today. I needed a clear mind. So, instead of choking on vaguely brownish, presumably alcoholic liquid, I bought a bottle of vodka, which I carefully sipped on while looking in the shadows outside the House of Crazies. There was something in the story Dodge told that had got me thinking. A small detail that had escaped me, but which was now scratching at my memory relentlessly. Lena. I hadn't even considered her, you know. We were a thing a couple of years before I started getting the body parts. And even though we ended on fairly bad terms, I just couldn't fathom that any of this had anything to do with her. I'd been shuffling in the shadows, chain smoking and vodka sipping for about 2 hours when I saw him exit the House of Crazies. He was an easy man to spot, old Dodge, because, well, you really couldn't miss him. That's how I found him in the first place. Turns out, there weren't that many lean giants named Dodge around these parts. I had a plan this time, but it was a stupid one. Immensely stupid, as circumstances would have it. I followed him as stealthily as my alcohol-fueled body could muster for a few blocks, until I saw him getting into a parked car. I knew this was my only shot, so instead of thinking about it, which I probably should have, I sprung into action, tore open the passenger door, pulled out my knife and sat down pointing the sharp end of it in Dodge's general direction. I need some fucking answers, man, I said. You owe me that much. Dodge didn't flinch. His towering frame bent over in a weird angle, enabled to fit somewhat comfortably in the car. There aren't that many car models accommodating people with vertical challenges, you know. Really makes you think. Monk, he said calmly. You shouldn't have come here. Fuck you, I snarled, waving the knife around threateningly. You don't get to decide that. Fine, he sighed, trying to lean back nonchalantly. What do you want to know, Monk? Sally, I said, waving the knife around. The woman from your story. What happened to her? This truly baffles me, Dodge said, a sly smile manifesting on his lips. I didn't believe it at first. Couldn't. It's like completing an infinite jigsaw puzzle blindfolded without fingers, and with the pieces scattered randomly across the world. It shouldn't be doable. Should be impossible. But here you are. What the fuck are you talking about? I yelled, this time poking the knife into his shoulder. What happened to her? She died, he said, killed herself in the hospital. Banged her head against a bedpost until there wasn't anything left. I highly doubt there was anything to save to begin with. No one comes back from what she went through." I nodded thoughtfully. The infinite jigsaw puzzle was slowly starting to come together. Lena, Donna, Sally. How had I not connected the dots earlier? "Hang on," I said, loud warning signal suddenly going off in my mind. "What did you mean about the jigsaw puzzle?" "He meant," a hoarse voice suddenly came from behind me, "that he didn't believe you'd be stupid enough to follow him here." Before I could make a move, I felt a thin metal wire wrap around my throat. I was able to get a finger or two between before it tightened, but the intensity of the attack nearly cut right through them as the unseen assailant pulled back the wire with ferocious vigor. "Calm down, monk," he whispered hoarsely. "I'll release it when you calm down. One more story, remember?" Remember? I remembered a fucked up summer with Lena, constantly on a wonderful high or depressing low, sleeping on the streets, pissing and shitting in filthy back alleys, the creeping sensation of despair as I realised we were slowly degenerating into human junkie trash. I raised my free arm and dropped the knife to signal that I was calm as a cucumber, and let out a pained sigh as I felt the wire loosen moments later. "You're him, aren't you?" I gasped. "You're Lena's father." "I am, monk," his raspy voice crept into my ears. "And it's time you heard her story." I nodded weakly, my gaze wandering to the rearview mirror. All I could see of him were the eyes, hateful, sad, filled with dark, somber grief. "The story started some 20 years ago, and we've just opened the final chapter now. The man was happy. He had 3 daughters, and he was proud of them all. Their mother, his wife, succumbed to cancer while they were still fairly young, and he had since done everything he could to give his children the life they deserved. The life their mother had wanted for them. And the children grew up to make him proud. His eldest went to law school to become a seeker of justice, a defender of the poor and hapless. The second daughter landed a promising position at a major publishing company. And the youngest daughter was still in high school. She wanted to become a journalist like her mother when things changed. The eldest daughter fell in love. This was a good thing, of course. Everyone deserves to experience love. But it led her down a path that she'd never come back from. A life in ruin and despair that ultimately cost her everything she had. School, friends, family. In just a few months, she rotted away. And everything she held dear, that held her dear, was taken away from her. By you." "Hey man, that's not fair," I interrupted. "She had a say in it too, you know." "We're not done, monk. Everything was taken from her. And then you left. Left her alone on the merciless streets, to rot away alone. It broke her, you know. She was already broken, but you made certain to leave her unfixable." "What the fuck do you mean?" I spat. "Yeah, I left. It happens. I feel shitty about it, but it happens." "She was pregnant, monk. You knew that. That's why you left. Left her alone to slowly destroy herself and the child. She was so cold when they found her. Icy blue complexion, foam at her mouth, gangrenous wounds all over her frail body." "So she died?" I asked. "You're blaming me for her death?" "She held on for 6 months, in and out of consciousness, but her mind was fractured. A jumbled mess, oozing madness and contempt. She held on, monk, until she gave birth, and then She killed herself. Stuck a pair of scissors into her brain. She wouldn't stop screaming your name. That's the only thing I can allow myself to remember of those final months. Your name. Look, I'm sorry, but I never meant to. We're not done. Following in the wake of her death, her sisters, unable to process the tragedy, fell into the same bottomless pit of despair. Drugs, prostitution, endless cycles of self-inflicted torture. I'm hoping this makes sense to you now. They all died, Monk. Swallowed by the maelstrom of rot and decay you left behind. All my daughters were taken away from me. Lena, Donna, Sally. Their deaths are all on you. You took everything away from me. And I've spent a lifetime making sure you pay for it. Piece by piece, I've chipped away at your sanity, until nothing was left but the alcoholic, filthy, decomposing parody of a human we see here today. I don't understand those body parts. Oh, you understand. I know you do. But we're just getting to that, Monk. But not here, not now. I have something very special planned for you. I felt the needle enter my neck, and then instant pressure as the liquid was forced into my bloodstream. Moments later, my eyes failed me. My mind disappeared into the comfort of the black void, and I dreamt happily of my very favourite thing. Nothingness. I woke up tied to a chair. Hands, legs bound so tight it fucking hurt like hell. The place was dark, but I could tell by the echoing sounds of water dripping that it had to be pretty spacious. Maybe an abandoned factory storage, I figured. Here we are, Monk, the old man's raspy voice echoed. At the very end of the story. But I heard something else too. Heavy breathing, a low feral growl, squishy footsteps. Time at last to face your creation, he said, a loud screeching sound accompanying his raspy monologue. Time at last to meet your daughter. Hey guys, and thank you for listening to the latest in the CreepyPasta series. Now, as I stated before, the link to the story and the Reddit will be in the description. This was made by Hyper Obscura, so check the description. Sorry, it's been a while. You know, having a newborn baby and things like that, I've just been put back, and I'm back at work now, so things are piling up, but hopefully I'll be able to bulk record some of these over the weekend. Anyway, thank you once again. Links to everything will be in the description. I know we've had an influx of people on the Discord, and it's great to talk to you guys and see you guys mingling with each other, talking about scary things. So if that interests you, go check it out. There's a never-ending link in the description, so at any point you can click it and join. And I'll look forward to seeing you there. Thanks again, and take care.